Hey everybody, Kurt Mueller here, host of the Barbeque Life podcast. Super excited to be back with you guys and really excited about this episode because I want to talk about the biggest leap I think I've made in my career, and that is I have left a 12 and a half year career in the financial planning industry. I am leaving that behind to pursue my barbecue passion with Ironhead Barbecue. And so I wanted to do an episode to talk about that, right? This episode is for those out there that are on the fence, that are maybe growing their barbecue business on the side and are kind of in that position of where do we go from here? And I want to talk about making that jump. I want to talk about branding today. I want to talk about the business side of things, catering, etc. So let's jump right into it. At the end of the day, you have to pursue your passion. Life is way too short not to do something that you absolutely love and you absolutely enjoy. And if barbecue is your passion, then I would encourage you to really take a deep look inward and look in the mirror and make that decision to pursue that with every single ounce of energy that you have in your body. Of course, there's no good time to do something like this. Yes, it's nerve-wracking. Yes, there's a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, but there's no good time to do this. And so what I want to stress to you guys is at the end of the day, you have to burn the ship, so to speak. You can't have a plan B. You have to go all in and just get out there and do it. So let's talk about the branding side of things. And of course, I'm talking about social media, everybody's favorite, right? I know I can hear those groans coming through the other end of the line, and I get it. I get it. Social media has its advantages. It has its disadvantages. No question about it. Here's the deal. If you want to grow your barbecue business and you want to be taken seriously and you want to grow a profitable, sustainable business, you have to embrace social media. I'm talking about Facebook. I'm talking about Instagram, TikTok, X, YouTube, you name it. You need to be on all of those platforms. Take a look around. Look at some of the biggest names out there in the barbecue industry. Heath Riles, for example, Malcolm Reed. Those guys are crushing it on social media. They're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, they're everywhere. Now, it's taken them years of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears to build that. But the point here is that they did it one video, one post at a time. Another question you might be thinking is, well, how often should I post? There's no magic number there. I'm not a social media expert, but here's what I'll tell you. You need to be posting once a day, period. Whether it's one of your cooks, whether it's some sort of a quote, a meme, whatever, you need to keep your audience engaged on all of those platforms. It's no secret. Our attention span these days is very, very short. So I believe in the power of the short form videos, TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels. There's a lot to be gained from the insight you can get from those types of videos, especially on Reels and with TikTok. So make sure that your TikTok page is a professional page, that it looks good, that you have a common theme across all of your pages. If you look at my pages, they all look the same. They've got our logo, they've got a very similar wording, a similar bio. And so you want that congruency across all different fronts. And like I said, you really need to just simply embrace social media. Sometimes it can be a necessary evil, but it's extremely, extremely important to continue to elevate your business and your brand to build, again, we're going out to build a profitable and sustainable business. For me, I want to be able to franchise my business. I want to be able to franchise Ironhead Barbecue. And this is an important topic, right? Because if you have any sort of thought that you want to be able to do that at someday, whether you want to take it regional, national, personally, I want to take my brand national. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. In order to franchise, you have to trademark your brand. So one of the most important things I did early on when we switched from Atomic City Smokers to Ironhead Barbecue is I went through the federal trademark application process with the local attorney. And that's what I would say. Don't shortchange yourself when it comes to the legal work behind the scenes with your business. Meet with a qualified attorney in your area, ask other business owners, connect with other restaurant owners, figure out who they are meeting with, what attorney they are using, and go meet with that person and start that trademarking process. Again, very important to protect your brand, especially if you want to continue to grow it and expand nationally. Here's another thing. Look at different sources of income streams. So we all think about barbecue and we think about selling barbecue. Of course, that's an income stream. But think about this. There's a tremendous amount of work, tremendous amount of labor and overhead that goes into that. And so one of the things that I did was create our own line of rubs, right? So what does that do? That will eventually create a consistent stream of revenue along with our merchandise, hats, t-shirts, etc. And so this is really important, right? Because again, it's very, very important to make sure from a branding standpoint that your brand looks congruent across all fronts, that you've got merchandise, right? That you even got rubs. Let's face it. If you've been barbecuing for any length of time, chances are you could probably put together some rubs right now and not even think about it, not even Google it, based on what you have in your pantry. So I'm a big believer in that. One of the things I looked at when it came to rubs is I said, look, why am I spending money on these pre-mixed rubs when I can make them myself? Because if you think about those big names in the barbecue industry, right? The Heath Riles, the Malcolm Reeds, those types of folks, they all started somewhere. They started with little to nothing, right? They started with rubs, merchandise, YouTube, etc. So that's what I would emphasize is if you want to build the brand, make sure you're building multiple streams of income. Rubs, sauces, merchandise, classes, you name it. And I think it's really, really important here to camp out on relationships. You can't ever have too many good relationships in the barbecue industry. I'm talking about relationships with restaurant owners, event organizers, charcoal companies, meat companies, you name it, right? You can't ever have too many good relationships in the barbecue industry. It's a small industry, and I think it's really, really important to grow those relationships. Get out of your comfort zone, right? Let's talk about getting out of your comfort zone. So most of you are familiar with the Kansas City Barbecue Society, Georgia Barbecue Association, Memphis Barbecue Network, you name it, Florida Barbecue Association, right? There's a lot of great sanctioning bodies out there. Champions Barbecue Alliance is another one, right? The IBCA, International Barbecue Cookers Association out of Texas. There's so many different sanctioning bodies out there. Here's the thing though, if you want to go national, you want to attract those national sponsors, you want to get on national TV shows, here's something I strongly recommend, and that is align yourself with a national sanctioning body, i.e. World Food Championships. Now, why do I say that? Because you might be thinking, well, Kansas City Barbecue Society is a national sanctioning body, and it is. However, let's be real. Let's think about that name, Kansas City Barbecue Society. If I'm a potential marketer, if I'm a potential sponsor, and I know nothing about competitive barbecue, what's one of the first things that's going to come to my mind when I see Kansas City Barbecue Society or Memphis Barbecue Society? What's one of those things? Is I'm going to say to myself, well, wait a minute, that's very regional. I want something national. Even though they are national, right? Kansas City Barbecue Society is national. From a marketing perspective, I'm going to raise an eyebrow at that and say, wait a minute, is that really in alignment with what I want to do from a national standpoint? And so that's why I bring up the World Food Championships, because you're getting to compete across all different fronts. You're getting to compete against people from all different kinds of walks of life with a ton of training, right? And you get to be really, really creative. So I would highly encourage you to look at events that are sanctioned by the World Food Championships. We all know that putting 6 pieces in a box is not real barbecue. Yes, I said it. It's not real barbecue. That's not what you're going to get at a restaurant. We all know that. Now, at the end of the day, if you say, look, all I want to do is compete, that's all I want to do, fantastic, great. You know, if that's what you enjoy doing, do it. If you say, look, I just want to cook in the backyard and be the best backyard cooker on my block, in my cul-de-sac, fantastic. I'm talking to the people right now that want to grow their brand, that want to become something bigger, that want to get out of their comfort zone, right? That want to continue to grow that and grow something that they can then turn around and sell one day, right? That's who I'm talking to right now. So I just want to be clear about that take some time and look at those World Food Championships because, again, I think they've got something special going on, and I really like their format. All right, let's talk about the business side of things. Number one, highly recommend you create a LLC for your barbecue business, right? You can do that online depending on your state. If you've got a great relationship with an attorney already, they can help you do that as well. The point here is make sure you create an LLC and make sure that you're engaging with a professional to get that done. Secondly, from a numbers side, accounting, don't try to do the numbers yourself. Hire a CPA in your area that specializes with small business owners. That's a very key component there. Specializes with small business owners. Ask around, talk to your friends, talk to restaurant owners, talk to other food trucks, other barbecue trucks, any food truck really. Ask them who they are using to keep their books, to do their payroll, to do their taxes, and go engage with a CPA professional for that. Number three, bankers. Make sure you're engaging with a local banker. Get a business bank account. If you want to have a bona fide business, if you want to have a profitable and sustainable business, act like it, right? You should have a business bank account. You should have an LLC. You should be using a CPA. You should have a great attorney on your side. So it's about building that team around you, right? Having a great attorney, having a great CPA, having a great banker. Those are three really key, important people to have in your corner as you begin to build your business. I can't emphasize that enough. Now, let's shift gears and talk about some more fun stuff. And that is actually getting out there, getting your name out there, building the brand locally, and continuing to expand. So everybody's different, right? I'm located in the Augusta, Georgia area. Wherever you may be, it may be a different story. But I would say around here, what I have done is we have gone out and we have done various different pop-ups at local breweries. We've also started to build relationships with a lot of the factories around here. And I wanted to camp out on the factories portion real quick, because I think if you're in an area that has a lot of industrial, has a lot of factories, then I think the opportunity there for you to build your brand, build name recognition is huge. Why do I say that? A lot of times at these factories, there's a lot of shift workers and they may only have 30 minutes for lunch. So by the time that they check out from the security gate, get to their car, go drive somewhere to get lunch and come back, it's literally like by the minute, they're coming in on two wheels, and a lot of times they don't want to do that, right? So if you can start to develop those relationships with factories in your area, then a lot of times what they will do is they will bring a food truck in on designated days. Notice the key word there, a food truck, right? So you have no competition. That's key. You have no competition and you have a captive audience. And so that's something that's really, really, really important. Those two things, no competition, captive audience. It's going to be very easy for you to get really excited about all these events, right? The organizers are going to say things like, hey, we want to get 8 to 10 food trucks. We're going to have all these people. Let's be very real about something. The organizer has no earthly idea how many people are coming to that event, whether it's a first-year event or whether it's been going for 30 years, unless it's a ticketed event. If it's not a ticketed event, then they're simply taking their best guess and they're giving you a number they think you want to hear. And so here's a couple of questions you need to be asking to these organizers. Number one, you need to ask, how many years has this festival or this event been going on? Very important. Number two, how many confirmed food trucks do you have currently? Number three, how many people do you anticipate at the event based on past numbers? Very, very, very important. Industry standard, right? The general rule of thumb is you figure 200 people per food truck. So why is this important? If you are going to an event and they tell you, look, it's our first year event, we've got 10 food trucks and we expect 500 people. Well, you can do the math on that. If they have 10 food trucks, then they really ought to have approximately 2,000 people there. So my point here is you can get super excited about that, do a bunch of cooking, get out there and have a very poor showing and not even break even. Fourth question is, what's the fee, right? Now, here's something that's unpopular, right? A lot of these event organizers want to charge us, right? Food truck operators, food trailer operators, they want to charge us a fee. My question to them is, what does that fee cover? That's not an unreasonable question. And I'm not being an ass by asking that. I want to know what that actually covers. I don't mind paying to be at an event if it's worth it. If it's an established event that's been going on for years, if we have a history of, hey, we can take a look at approximately how many people were there. Here's a great example. Pigs and Peaches Festival in Kennesaw, Georgia back in August. That festival has been going on for quite some time. And I talked to a lot of people that go there every year. And the gist that I got was they anticipated between 50 and 60,000 people over a day and a half. Now, granted, that was a guess, but we went up there and did almost $14,000 in business in a day and a half. And those that were there, they'll tell you that on Saturdays especially, we were running nonstop. We had a line from 10:45 a.m. until about 9:30 p.m. And it wasn't just a few people in line. It was, 15 to 20 people consistently in that line. And so again, those are some really key questions you need to be asking because it's very tempting to say yes to a lot of these different things. Here's another unpopular opinion. Consider charging a minimum, especially if you're going to take the time, right, to cook all this food, to go to an event, and you've got to make sure you're at least covering your costs, especially if you've got payroll. It's different, of course, if it's just you, but even still, you want to make sure you're covering your costs. So I know, for example, that if my trailer leaves my backyard, I need to be grossing minimum $500 at an event. Now, one of the difficult things in the Augusta area is that, most food trucks, food trailer operators don't charge a minimum to come out there. I am hopeful that I can eventually change that and basically make that the norm because I think it's important to at least cover your costs. Super, super important there. So what else is on the docket? Relentless. I want to talk about being relentless, right? Here's the deal. If you are used to a paycheck every 2 weeks and you're used to the safety of that, it's going to hurt like hell to leave that behind. Trust me. I just did it, right? I've been self-employed for almost 13 years. I just left a 13-year career to pursue my passion. So what's my point here? You better be damn sure that you're passionate about your craft, that you're passionate about your barbecue, and you better be relentless. Absolutely relentless. Like your hair is on fire. I can't overemphasize that enough. You have to be relentless. You have to embrace the no. You have to embrace rejection. You have to be willing to ask for the business, to ask for the opportunity, ask feedback, ask people to leave you a review. Now, I know you might be thinking, well, that's kind of, I don't really feel comfortable doing that. Guess what? You better get really comfortable being uncomfortable, period. Especially if you are the owner, the pit master, the COO, the CEO, the chief janitor, you name it. It's all on you. So it's not unreasonable if you get great feedback from people to ask them to leave you a Facebook review, a Google review, whatever it may be. Why is that important? Chances are they aren't going to do it. And that's nothing against them. It's just life, right? Life gets in the way. So ask for those reviews and be absolutely relentless. That's super, super, super important. I can't emphasize that enough. Now, how do you maintain that fire, right? I get a lot of people asking me, well, how do you have so much energy? Well, number one, I work out every morning, right? I'm not going to sit here and preach about that, but I believe in the importance of physical fitness because that transcends the rest of my day, the rest of my life, right? Helps me stay mentally sharp, physically sharp, etc., right? Plus, I'm very energetic, right, when I work out. So I'm not going to camp out on that too much. Bottom line is physical fitness is important to me. But here's the other thing that I'm very convicted about, right? Conviction. It's really, really important. Is that I believe, right? I believe in what I'm doing. I believe that in 5 years, Ironhead Barbecue is going to be national. You have to believe that with every single ounce of energy in your body. You have to. Now, people are going to think you're crazy. And maybe I'm a little crazy. But you know what? Most business owners are a little crazy. Most entrepreneurs are a little crazy. When you love something so much that you're willing to leave behind the comfort and safety of a paycheck every 2 weeks, that is a little crazy. It's okay to be a little crazy, right? But you have to have that energy and that passion behind it. People will feel that, right? When people walk up to your line and they say, hey, what kind of barbecue do you have? And you say, well, it's just kind of, we use a little bit of salt. No, you got to have some fire behind it. They want to feel that energy. Explain to them how you cooked it, right? Explain to them the style. Tell them what you did. Tell them how you learned. Offer some classes. There's another, income revenue generator right there. So again, be absolutely relentless and get very, very comfortable being uncomfortable. I can't emphasize that enough. You have to just embrace that in the same way that you embrace social media. Relationships. Like I said earlier, you can't ever have too many good relationships. You can't. If you are going to be a business owner, if you are going to be the captain and driving that ship, if you're going to be the visionary, you have to be willing to build relationships with other people in the barbecue industry and other industries, right? You have to be willing to do that. You can't sit around in the corner at an event and wait for people to introduce themselves to you. If that's you, and if you say, well, golly, I'm just not very outgoing, you need to reassess. You need to reassess whether or not it makes sense for you to leave behind the comfort of a paycheck to go pursue your passion. And I don't say that to be mean, I say that to be real. You need to reassess, take a hard look in the mirror and say, hey, am I going to learn how to engage with people in an event and get out of my shell, get out of my comfort zone, build those relationships, shake hands, ask for the business, ask for reviews, and embrace rejection? It's one of the hardest things to do, right? Mike Tyson says that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Well, everybody's got a plan until they ask for the business, ask for an opportunity, and they get rejected. I don't know of anyone on this planet that wakes up in the morning and says, I really, really, really want to get rejected today. I really want to be vulnerable today. Nobody does that, right? But you, as the business owner, you as the captain, you as the visionary, have to be comfortable with rejection and embrace it. You're going to get rejected. People are going to let you down. It's okay. Keep moving forward. Relationships. Build mutually beneficial relationships and honor your commitments. Do what you say you're going to do. Again, if you don't think you can do that, if you say to yourself, I'm not an outgoing person, one, you're never going to be an outgoing person with an attitude like that. Two, you need to reassess if this is what you actually want to do. And if it is, then you need to put in the time, effort, and energy to learn how to be more outgoing. Google it, YouTube videos, read books, Kindle, you name it. There's so many resources out there. I don't want to hear any excuses about, well, I don't know what to do. There's plenty of resources out there that can help you become a more outgoing person and be able to clearly articulate your vision, your passion, what you're trying to do with your business and your brand. Last thing I want to talk about is niche, right? What is your niche, right? It's a very popular, buzzword these days with all the Instagram gurus, so to speak. But I do think it's important. If you don't have a niche with your barbecue, then you're like everybody else. So what you need to do is take a look around in your local area. Take a look around and see what kind of barbecue is being served. Obviously, this is a regional thing, right? Midwest, Texas, Southeast, Northeast, out West. There's all different kinds of flavors, different kinds of techniques, different kinds of proteins, you name it, right? So take a look around, see what's being offered. Read the reviews of those places. I want to specifically learn about the negative feedback. What are the negative people or negative reviews saying? Go try the barbecue. Go try it and give your honest assessment of it. Go home after that and sit down and go, okay, what can I do that's slightly different, that's going to elevate me above everybody else? So here's an example. In my area of the country, Augusta, Georgia, it's heavy on the pork. Pork is the primary protein. I like pork. I like pulled pork, pork loin. I love it. But you know what I love even more? Beef. Beef, brisket, beef dino ribs. You know what I discovered? Most of the barbecue places in my area, either they don't cook brisket and beef ribs, or if they do, it leaves a lot to be desired. And so that's our calling card. So when we go out to events, people know we're going to have brisket, we're going to have beef ribs. Of course, we're going to have pork and chicken, because it's important to have what people want as well, but that's our niche. And so I would encourage you, again, do some homework, read the negative reviews, go try the barbecue, and figure out what your niche is going to be that's going to elevate you above everyone else, so that when they see you coming, they know, okay, they've got beef, or they specialize in chicken or pork or whatever it may be, right? Whatever that style may be. So let's recap real quick as we wind down the show. Like I said, Branding, embrace social media. Can't get away from it, embrace it. I don't want to hear excuses. Make time or make excuses, right? Embrace social media, post once a day, minimum. Catering and food truck operations, again, if you want to get the big catering jobs, you got to put in the work on the front end. You got to be willing to go out and do pop-ups and take the risk, right? Take that risk up front to get people to have your food, have your barbecue, and say, wow, I'd love for him to cater our event. Business side, engage with an attorney, engage with a banker, engage with a CPA. Make sure all those things are buttoned up, right? Make sure you've got an LLC, business bank account. Make sure a CPA is helping you with your taxes and your bookkeeping and your payroll if you have employees. Relentless. You got to have your hair on fire. People are going to think you're crazy. That's okay. I'm probably a little crazy. Maybe you are too. Embrace that. But you have to be relentless in your pursuit of building your brand. No one's going to do it for you. Relationships, build them. Build lots of them. Honor your commitments. Do what you say you're going to do. Build mutually beneficial relationships with other great like-minded people in barbecue industry and abroad. It's only going to make you a better person to surround yourself with people like that. And lastly, establish a niche. Do your homework, do your research, read the reviews, go try barbecue in your area. Figure out how you can set yourself apart. Most importantly, keep calm and smoke on.